how many appearances have you made on talk shows?
I've made over 500 appearances on national television, including 61 appearances on The Tonight Show.
61.
Over 50 on Letterman. In fact, Letterman let me host when he had the shingles and stuff, so. And anytime he got sick, he'd let me host. So whenever I saw him, I'd say, "You don't look so good. You need to take some time off."
You feeling all right, David? And he wrote the foreword for your book
he
as
did.
well.
And a funny forward it is. Yeah, we've been friends ever since he first came to L.A. We both arrived around the same time.
Did you?
I had been doing a little bit longer than him, and we met in the parking lot of the Comedy Store. And he called me a while back. He said, every time you do an interview or I do an interview, and they ask how we met, we always tell the same story, that you came off stage at the Comedy Store. I had just driven out. That was my first day there. I had an old red pickup truck. He said, I was in the parking lot, and I complimented you on your set. I said, yeah. He said, well, it's a boring story. I said, but it's the truth. He said, I don't care, it's boring. From now on, tell people you came off stage, I was in the parking lot, I stole some material from you, and you beat the hell out of me in the parking lot. Now, I said, no, why would I want to say that? He said, because it's a better story. Now, 2 weeks go by. He calls me. He said, do you know the governor of Illinois? And I said, no, I met him, but I don't know him. Mm-hmm. And it's try to make this short. His wife had a friend that has an adult son who has autism, and the autistic adults in Chicago, in Illinois somewhere, were planting corn, beans, and tomatoes, and when it came into fruition, giving it to the homeless. He said, and the state is going to take that property away. I want to talk to the governor. I said, well, I know the Senate Majority Leader, John Cullerton. I'll call him. I call him. He said, Tom, we're taking care of that. Tell Dave not to worry about it. And he named some statute or something. I said, look, could Dave call you and you explain it because you say it better? And he said, yes. I said, oh, John, by the way, when you tell Dave you're helping him, tell him the reason you're helping him is because you heard Dreesen beat the hell out of him in the parking lot at the Comedy Store. Now, I swear to you, 10 minutes go by, my phone rings, it's Dave. I said, hello. He said, didn't I tell you that's a better story? I told you that's a better story.
It is a better story. That's it. Oh, man, that is fantastic. And we are back on our terrestrial radio outfit. Tom Dreesen, still standing, my journey from streets and saloons to the stage and Sinatra, where all books can be acquired. The forward by David Letterman just told a great story about
It's on
Letterman.
Amazon, by the way. They'll have it to your house in 2 days. It's got, I don't mean to brag, but it's got over 400 5-star reviews now. Because it's a story of triumph. I grew up on the streets, and I had 8 brothers and sisters. I grew up on the south side of Chicago, a suburb called Harvey. And I shined shoes in taverns. I set pins in bowling alleys. I caddied in the summertime. I sold newspapers on the corner, all to help feed my brothers and sisters. So it's a story of triumph, still standing. I've been a comedian for 52 years.
52 years.
So I'm still doing stand-up, but also I've been knocked down a lot in my life, and I kept getting back up again. And so that's why I'm so happy that the book is doing so well.
Still standing, and then obviously standing at a microphone on a stage. I love the title. I love it. Fantastic. What was the first gig you had, stand-up?
Tim Reed and I were America's first black and white comedy team.
Tim Reed, the Venus flytrap that TJ just mentioned in his big-ass grab bag.
He never thought he'd be in show business, and I never thought I'd be in show business. We were in the JCs. I wrote a drug education program teaching elementary school children the ills of drug abuse with humor, a concept I had.
Sure.
And Tim and I worked on the project together. One day, a little 8th grade girl walked out of the classroom because we played off of one another and everything. She said, you guys are funny. You ought to become a comedy team. And the thought of a black-white comedy team intrigued us because no one had ever done it before.
Right.
So we became America's first black and white comedy team when there were no comedy clubs. We worked all what they call the Chitlin circuit, black-owned, black-operated nightclubs in the North and the South. And we worked all white nightclubs, too. We eventually worked the Playboy circuit. But, we everywhere there was racial tension. Now, keep in mind the backdrop. This is 1969. The Vietnam War was raging. Students were protesting all over America. There were riots all over America in all the major cities, race riots. And in the middle of all this, we were going out trying to make America laugh. We did 11 prisons in 1 year. We did the county jail 3 times in 1 year in Chicago. Anywhere there was racial tension, colleges or high schools, we would go, not preach, but just to make people laugh.
Then he became Venus Flytrap on WKRP.
After 6 years, the team split up, and we went he wanted to be more of an actor, you know. And all that's in the book. In fact, there's talk now of Netflix maybe doing a mini-series on our life about what it was like having somebody play Tim and I. What it was like touring the nation during all that turmoil.
That'd be amazing. I'd be all in on something like that.
It's a real interesting time.
Tom Dreesen here on The Rich Eisen Show.